This video is produced by Morning Newsbeat and sponsored by ReposiTrak, the industry standard food safety solution. Okay, let's review the facts. The Food Safety Modernization Act will create new requirements throughout the food chain, making C-level executives personally responsible.
It's Sarbanes-Oxley comes to the FDA.
The new rules begin going into effect on August 15th, 2015, with enforcement scheduled to begin a year later. From all the evidence, not nearly enough companies are ready.
You know, you can always find a reason not to do something. In the case of the Food Safety Modernization Act requirements, I get the impression from some people that they think that magically the law is going to go away, or that somehow their systems are going to be up to snuff. But when I talk to the experts, I am persuaded that there is very little appetite in Washington to soften or rescind the law, and that many companies, retailers, manufacturers, and wholesalers simply won't be prepared to meet its requirements. That sounds to me like 9 miles of bad road.
For ReposiTrak to work, really work, the food chain has to create a network of companies that are constantly communicating their safety data, creating real-time and accurate trackability, and providing the kind of comprehensive information that the FDA can demand on 24 hours notice. One of the important initial steps was to connect with trade associations that could endorse the program and provide access to ReposiTrak for their members. At the head of the line, the Food Marketing Institute, which along with the retailer-owned Food Distributors and Associates, is working to speed ReposiTrak's acceptance and implementation.
We really were interested in ReposiTrak at first for the traceability components, because the traceability was unique in that it was an interoperable traceability system, and that was unique to the industry. There was no other interoperable traceability system out there. They also had the document management, and that's turning out to be extremely beneficial with FSMA records.
Affiliated Foods Midwest is an example of how companies are benefiting from the trade association connection.
We work together as a food retailer and wholesaler group across the country with FMI, and just came together actually communicating with the FDA. And what's the new rules going to look like? How might we as warehouses and distributors and retailers best work with that rule that would work for us also?
For Affiliated, part of evaluating new and potential vendors is making sure that they are part of the ReposiTrak system. If they're not on it, it means that they may not be compliant with new food safety rules. If they're not on it, it may mean that they're not worth the risk.
We would argue you have to act on knowledge. When you know that there's a bad citizen or somebody who is not performing in your supply chain, you're going to have to take action. You're going to have to decide whether you want to do business with them, whether you want to continue. Several of our customers are doing some interesting things in that respect. We're seeing more and more of our customers say, we want you to be at the front of our new vendor sign-up process. So we're actually taking over their new vendor onboarding process. So if they're not ReposiTrak compliant, they're not going to be doing business with them.
The case for ReposiTrak seems clear. The Food Safety Modernization Act will mandate more detailed record keeping, faster response times to FDA information requests, and higher levels of corporate responsibility.
If you are a C-level executive with ultimate responsibility for compliance, you may be wondering not just if you have all the answers, but if you even have the right questions. So I tell you what, go to the website address that you see on screen and we will send you a one-pager of questions that you can ask, that you need to ask the person in your organization with responsibility for food safety. We promise you're going to find it enlightening, maybe even a little scary. But remember, denial is not an option, and resistance is futile.
This video is produced by Morning Newsbeat and sponsored by ReposiTrak, the industry standard food safety solution.